The Banowetz Podcast.
Welcome back to the Banowetz Marketing Podcast. I'm Sarah, and today I have Amy Hautt from Warehouse Auto. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Good. So just to let everyone know, Warehouse Auto is a family business, so we're kind of related, right?
A little bit.
So we are actually sisters.
Mm-hmm.
And so our dad and mom started Warehouse Auto when we were 7 and 9.
Yep.
And our brother was 1.
Mm-hmm.
So before that, we lived in Marion. Do you remember that time, like moving to Solon?
Yep.
So Warehouse Auto is in Swisher, and one of the awesome things about Warehouse Auto is that it's on like a park-like setting.
Yeah. Dad likes to call it the auto park.
So tell us a little bit about your story and how, because you're full-time at Warehouse Auto now.
Correct.
So tell us a little bit about your story.
Well, I have a degree in architecture, so, might as well sell used cars, right? Now, growing up, I never thought that I would be really involved in the business. But just, I guess that's just sort of what happened. Like I said, I actually have a degree in architecture. I had 4 years at Judson College in Elgin, Illinois, and came back. My husband and I got married right after my freshman year of college, actually. So we were kind of young marrieds and ended up having kids right after college. And so I stayed home with my kids, as you know, for years. We have 4 kids, and I stayed home for probably, I'm thinking it was like 7 or 8 years. My husband and my dad had kind of like gotten together and said, hey, what if I take 2 months off and then Amy comes in and works for you for 2 months and just helps you out for a couple of months.
And keep in mind, you'd been doing the accounting.
Correct.
From home, or just like coming in like once a week or something to do some book work.
Yeah, there wasn't a huge need for a ton of hours, so it was just a very part-time job that I was able to do. Was still having kids at home. It was my mommy time away, and I would come in, once or twice a week and just do some of the accounting stuff.
Yeah, so you were already doing that at Warehouse Auto, so it wasn't like completely off the wall that you would help out for a couple months while Danny was off.
Yeah, and I was familiar with that end of the business, like the accounting and the numbers and everything else. But never really thought that I would be that great at doing the sales part or, learning about all the vehicles and things like that. It just seemed overwhelming to me. So it was never anything that I pursued. Kind of just accidentally got into it just due to circumstances. So I came in and helped Dad out for a couple of months. Actually ended up falling in love with it. So
what did you fall in love with?
Well, really, it's just a lot of different things. It's kind of fun. There's a lot of plates that spin, and in a small business, you do a lot of tasks. It's not like you're stuck on one certain thing every day. So there's a lot of variety. Also, I really actually love helping customers, which I never really thought that I would, but I don't know why. I do really enjoy it though, because, especially with me as a mom, I have certain perspective and certain needs for a vehicle, with kids, and, you kind of you have a van or you need a van or whatever, but there's different configurations and there's different like positives and negatives to certain makes and models. And I was kind of in the market for a van actually around the same time that I had started too. And so I just learned a lot about the different vehicles, and I love helping other, families find a vehicle that really fits their needs the best, because, whether that's a van or an SUV car, really anything, just listening to the customer and like kind of assessing their needs and then helping them to find,
Yeah, because Warehouse Auto started selling a lot more, not Siennas, Odysseys, like right after you started.
Yeah, because Dad is very value conscious, right? So he always was like, well, why would I buy an Odyssey if I can spend less money on a Dodge Grand Caravan? And I'm like, well, some people just really like certain brands, and there's different features about certain brands that people really appreciate.
Well, it's funny because you drive an Odyssey now, and I drive a Sienna, and as much as I loved the Dodge Grand Caravans before, I really like how my Sienna drives. And you really like your Odyssey. So.
Yeah. So my favorite thing is just listening to people, assessing kind of where they're at with things, and then, getting them a match, and whether that's on our lot or sometimes we'll go out and find it. And then it's an easy and enjoyable thing. And I just enjoy matching a person up with a vehicle.
Well, and let's touch on that. You said sometimes you go out and find vehicles for people, but really you can do that pretty easily because you're sourcing vehicles from around the country. Right. every single week from multiple locations. And so you have a extensive pool of vehicles that you can pull from to get people exactly what they want.
Right. That's the cool thing about a lot of the auctions that people get vehicles from. They have gone online now. Most all of them are online. I would say all the big ones are. So we have just as much access to vehicles as a little mom and pop car dealership that, the big names would have in Cedar Rapids. And we shop coast to coast and border to border. I mean, today is Friday. There's an auction in Chicago. There's an auction in Manheim, Pennsylvania, which is the biggest auction in the whole country. So we can shop, in the Midwest, on the East Coast and the West Coast all on the same day, just on the computer. So, and
what's really cool about that too is, so explain about the process a little bit, because car auctions have gotten really good with, number one, I remember detailing when they weren't good about keeping the vehicles clean. So they're already going through a cleaning process before they ever even get to Warehouse Auto, which is amazing for the detailers now.
And not all of them, but a lot of them, yeah.
But then they're checking over and doing they're looking at the vehicles on site, and then all of that stuff is in the computer so that you have an idea of what you're purchasing when you get it.
Yeah, and if it doesn't live up to they do condition reports. So if it doesn't live up to the condition reporting, then we can do what's called arbitration. We can talk to them and say, hey, this isn't as you represented it, and kind of go from there. That's a whole nother.
Because you can send it back if you need to. And then once it does get to Warehouse Auto, then explain the process a little bit, because I know this is so different than really almost any other car dealer.
Right. Because like you're saying, the first step is we just source the cleanest vehicles. We, if it's got a recorded accident on it, we, pass it by, things like that. We just, keep an eye out for those really nice units. And then once it gets to us, the first thing it does before anybody's allowed to drive it on customers, anything else, we send that to our mechanic, Albert Auto. So
which
it's just
is
a third party.
Independent mechanic.
They go through and do a full, inspection on the vehicle and make sure it's safe, make sure it's, in tip-top shape. So they go through and do that. And then once it's done there, then it comes back to our shop and it goes through our detailing process, and which is pretty extensive as well. Also goes, we check it over inside, outside. If there's anything, missing that was supposed to be in it, like a spare tire or, owner's manual, we try to make sure everything's, in tip-top shape.
Well, and it's really very much reconditioned.
Correct.
And there's vendors that come on site to do minor dent repair, paint work, or
PDR, touch-ups, all that, interiors. Yep.
Then finally, it gets put on the lot. And another process that is unique to Warehouse Auto is the pricing too.
Right. Yeah. So we just try to price. What we do is we price everything fair from the get-go. So we look at a number of different. We look at KBB, we look at NADA, we look at the market, and we just try to price everything fair just from day one. And again, we don't have any back end fees of any kind. So you're not going to find any like dealer fees, doc fees, anything like that. So reconditioning fees, it's all included in the price. You can really get into some sticky situations in other bigger dealerships where, they say this sort of the price online or whatever, but then when you get there, there's all those games, right? Where, that was the internet price, or you have to be a veteran to qualify for that, or who knows what they'll come up with. But ours is just very clear and transparent. This is the price. There's no extra fees other than, the pass-through fees, which would be like the tax, title, and license that you have to pay to the county when you purchase a vehicle. But other than that, it's all... You just try to be very upfront, transparent, and clear. Yeah, we have a lot of customers who come and drive one day and then they say, we would like to sleep on it, which we understand. It's a huge purchase. I mean, you got to make sure that you're like, hey, this is the one, this is the right, budget for my family and everything else. So a lot of times people will sleep on it. They'll either turn in a credit app or they'll just, if they're paying cash or whatever, then they just we let them know kind of what the end fee or everything cost out the door. And then a lot of times they'll come back the next day to actually sign paperwork, pick it up. And if we get it done, if we have all the information, we're able to get, all the paperwork done beforehand. I mean, the actual delivery process takes maybe 15 minutes. I mean, it doesn't take very long at all. So it doesn't have to be, long and drawn out. It can be pretty quick and easy.
And it's part of that is because you're not trying to upsell anything.
Right. Yeah. I mean, we have an extended warranty, but it's a company that we've had a really great reputation with, and we're some of the lowest rates in Iowa. So very affordable extended warranty, but we don't push it. I mean, we say, hey, here it is. If you want it, you want it.
Well, and let's touch on that a little bit too, because the reason we have some of the best rates in Iowa is because of why?
The check-in process. Everything leaves with a clean bill of health at our dealership. So the warranty company, obviously, they appreciate that. And
so statistically, Warehouse Auto's vehicles have less warranty claims on them, and as a result, the cost of the warranty for Warehouse Auto customers is one of the lowest in the state. So
right, and that's another thing to consider, because it's easy to shop online and just look at the price, right, of different companies and everything else. But there's so much more to the story than just the list price of the vehicle. There's all these other things to consider. One of those is, the extended warranty, back end fees. There's just a lot, knowledgeable staff. There's just a lot more things to think about. Mm-hmm.
Very cool. Well, so why are you still there full time? It's been a little bit more than 2 months here.
Well, so yeah, I did end up falling in love with it. So I enjoy, helping customers. I do a lot of the buying. Our dad has wanted to do more ministry stuff and kind of step away more. And so he has really enjoyed being able to do that with me in there. So we just had sort of a big family meeting after the couple of months, and we said, okay, what are we going to do now? So, I just enjoyed it so much. My husband has always wanted to start his own business, so it really gave us the opportunity to do that. So he actually quit his job at that glass company and started his own handyman business.
Handyman Hautt?
Yeah, maybe you'll have to have him in here for a podcast sometime. He didn't start that right away, but it just gave him kind of that open door. So again, we have 4 kids. Our littlest guy is 3 now. At the time, he was just a year old. Yeah. So we still needed someone at home, so he stayed home with the kids full time, and I went to full time work. So we did like a swapperoo. And it's been a really neat experience for him to just get to spend more time with the kids than he had in the past. And he's the fun parent. So he does all like the fun stuff. He'll take them like fishing and take them to the park. Not that I didn't do that, but you know what I mean? Like he's the fun parent. He'll get down and wrestle with them and everything. So it's been a really neat experience for him too. And then, like I said, a little bit later than that's when he started his handyman business, and he just does it part-time, makes his own hours. So it works out really, really well for our family.
Very cool.
Yeah.
So let's talk a little bit about Warehouse Auto's marketing.
Mm-hmm.
So Banowetz marketing actually got started via Warehouse Auto because I had a photography company, and then after the recession, so Warehouse Auto was started when you were 7 and I was 9. And our dad had a marketing agency, and he had this idea for a car dealership that he was trying to sell to car dealers, which was what we just explained, the whole process of Warehouse Auto. It ended up turning into Warehouse Auto. Car dealers didn't want to purchase this idea from him, this marketing idea that was also a lot of business leadership and business. I mean, it was a whole new plan for a car dealership, and he couldn't find a car dealer who wanted to do it, so he quit his marketing agency and started Warehouse Auto Company. So because of his marketing background, he was able to start Warehouse Auto. And by the time 2009, 2010 hit, we were still going on the old branding. Do you remember that? Because you were still...
Yeah, I'm trying to think back. Yeah, it was pretty archaic.
Let's touch back to the point where Amy was like, I didn't think I was going to be involved in Warehouse Auto. So Amy's the middle child. And what's interesting is Sean and I, the youngest and the oldest, have been the ones that, because we started working there when we were in high school and just worked up the ranks. And you were like, I'm going to go be an architect.
I never detailed.
You did want to be at head honcho though, right?
Yeah. Yep.
Have you even spent one day detailing? Okay, we gotta get her detailing, because Dad always said you gotta work your way up from the bottom.
Katie would grind me into the ground. I would probably get fired by Katie. She's our detailing. She's like our OCD mom, and she is fantastic. But I don't think anybody can live up to her expectations.
She's got a lot of energy too, so that would be good though. Anyway, so 2009, 2010, after the recession, Sean and I started, Sean and I were talking about not rebranding, but freshening up the brand. So he worked on the logo, and then he and I together worked on the website with Mach 20 Autos, and And then just a refreshing the brand, I did the new tagline, Enjoy car shopping, which Dad did remind me that it was you'll enjoy car shopping, and he got it down to just enjoy car shopping. But a lot of the coloring, the branding, the verbiage, I remember we would have this fight because he wanted to do a lot of old media, and I was very much like, we need to do Facebook. And now Facebook and Instagram, and now I'm going to start pushing TikTok on you guys, but we'll see if we get there.
Are we going to have to do music videos?
But that actually led me into opening Banowetz Marketing. So, because I always thought I would be the one running Warehouse Auto. But I'm not. Amy is, and I run my own company now too. So,
which you enjoy a lot.
I do.
more.
I was thinking about that the other day too, after I was driving home from Warehouse Auto, because I had to do the videography this week. I usually don't do it, but I had to do it this week. And I was driving home from Warehouse Auto, and I was like, I really don't think I would enjoy selling cars. Like, that was just what I thought I would do. We were 9 and 7 when Dad opened Warehouse Auto, and I just thought that's what my life was going to be like, until I moved to Ethiopia. But but yeah, I don't think I would.
Well, and I always tease you very seriously that you don't want my job as general
No,
manager.
I don't. I want Jeff's dad. I would hire you. But no, but I've actually enjoyed doing things from scratch. Although I will say I do envy you for you had a team already built and processes and stuff already built that you've just tweaked and stuff. Not just tweaked. It's been a lot of hard work. She's done a lot of hard work. Warehouse Auto fits you really well, and I think Banowetz Marketing fits me really well. So yeah, it's been kind of cool. But it does help me empathize with my target audience who have started their own businesses and are running their own businesses. I'm not just a marketing person. I come from family business, and I understand that dynamic, that family business is hard, and it helps with human flourishing. Our communities, our staff, the customers that we serve, all of that is super important. And so I don't see marketing as just it is communication, but I see the bigger picture because of our upbringing and because of our background. So
Right. And entrepreneurship is hard too.
Just in general. And what's really cool that I can say for both of us is that we have a strong support system.
Right.
So one thing that has been really cool is that, so our mom, Terry, purchased into Banowetz Marketing. And so she actually, as of 6 months ago, she actually owns 25% of Banowetz Marketing. And I think that was actually the hardest part, was not you and Sean and Dad were all working together. And I felt kind of left out, but having our mom buy into 25% of Warehouse Auto, and then also having Banowetz Marketing, yeah, she owns 50% of Warehouse Auto, but buying 25% of Banowetz Marketing, and then also you guys being a client, we still have that relationship and everything, and so it almost what she said, Terry, our mom, said recently. She goes, our family runs one ministry and 2 companies, and I was like, wow, yeah,
Kind of crazy.
And we're just like this, yeah, it's kind of crazy. So it makes sense, some of the weight that you feel as a business owner, leader and stuff. It makes sense when you put into perspective, it's hard, but it's good to have a support system and everything like that.
Right. It's almost just second. I mean, we don't even know any different, right?
I think it did really well. My husband and I, Matt and I, we had this discussion when at our 5th wedding anniversary, we went out to Biaggi's for dinner. And I remember we had this discussion that we wanted to raise our children in an entrepreneuring family. I was really thankful for that growing up. It's a lot like how people say sports. They want to raise their children with sports because it teaches them self-discipline and all of these good skills and everything. And I've always said it's sports or business. They both teach, I think, similar things. I'm really not into sports, so...
So we're in Swisher, which is, yeah. So the country area of Swisher. If you're on I-380 between Cedar Rapids and Iowa City, exit 10 is the Swisher-Shoeyville exit. And we're pretty close right off the exit there. So 965 runs parallel to the interstate, and we're just right off there. Yeah, right off of 965. But it's like we have a pond. There used to be more ponds. We filled in some, but there's a pond, rolling hills. I mean, it's just a beautiful area to be. Mm-hmm.
Well, thank you for watching the Banowetz Marketing Podcast. We hope you enjoyed it. And a strong ROI on your marketing efforts makes us happy. So if you would like to talk to us about marketing, anything marketing related, give us a shout out and we will talk to you later. Bye.